I want to bring in the National Journal's Chris Frates and White House reporter for the Washington Post, David Nakamura. Good to see both of you. Good morning.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Chris.
David, what happened here? Did the White House misread how tough this was going to be?
I don't know that they misread it, and you heard the president express his frustration. You know, this has been something he's been dealing with for the past couple years. The White House thinks that Republicans are purposely, trying to sort of bottle up not only, these higher level appointees, but lower level judges and other things. So it's not that they didn't necessarily expect it. We got email yesterday from a senior White House official saying, look, take a deep breath. It's going to happen. They're trying to sort of influence the stories to make sure that this doesn't take on a momentum of its own and somehow go off the rails. But it is a problem, and I think the White House, you see the president now in his State of the Union address already saying, in terms of gun control, in terms of other votes that are coming down the line, let's have a vote. Let's not allow the filibuster to get carried away. With Hagel, I think the White House remains confident. You see even leading Republicans say it's going to happen. It's just going to take more time. And this is sort of almost politics as usual now.
Well, for Republicans, what do you think this is really about, Chris? I mean, some say they want more information about Hagel. Some want more information about Benghazi. John McCain suggested just this morning that, frankly, there's just a lot of ill will toward Hagel from when he was a senator. What do you see going on here?
Well, for Republicans, it was a choose your grievance. You pointed out a few. Some Republicans were also upset that Harry Reid said he wasn't going to honor a hold on Hagel's nomination, and that got some folks upset because they felt like they were being run over by the majority. And what you're seeing here from Republicans is a play to make sure that they flex a little muscle so that the Democrats understand that the president's agenda has to go through them, and that's on guns, on immigration. I agree with David. I think this will get done, but it's never great for a nominee to have to wait another week to hang out there and take shots from opposition. Is not a great place for them to be, but I'm not worried that this is not going to get through. But this is the flexing of the muscle by Republicans in the Senate for sure.
Okay, so Hagel gets blocked, at least for now. Rand Paul and others are threatening to block John Brennan. Susan Rice didn't even get to the nomination process. I mean, is this rocky road, if that's how we want to describe it, David? Does this hurt the president's credibility, or at least his ability to get things done? Is it a small distraction? Could it become a larger one? Put it into sort of the wider context of what the White House wants to be accomplishing right now.
Well, it does. It does take away, compared to past presidents, which, especially in national security, is one where, as the president said, it's unprecedented to do this. And that is a problem at a time where you have a lot of things going on in terms of the president's foreign policy, particularly in the Middle East and the withdrawal of Afghanistan coming, to the fore. And, you need someone in charge of the Pentagon to do this. In terms of the broader spectrum, I think some of it can be sort of seen as a bit of a nuisance in the sense that the president wants to be out there talking about his agenda, which is the gun control, which is immigration, things that people think could get done. You also have, of course, the sequester and the ongoing issue of the spending situation and taxes. And so I think that these are the things the president wants to be out talking about. He's going to be on the road today talking about gun control. So, the question is, will he have to be talking about this to try to make put the pressure on Republicans to get moving on his appointees?
So, Chris, Senate Democrats put out their own plan yesterday to avoid the sequester, including raising taxes with the Buffett rule. Any chance?
I think that's going to be tough, Chris. I think what you're seeing right now between the House Republicans and the Senate Democrats is this political game of chicken, where they're both coming down the road at 65 miles an hour. They both say, if the other guy would just swerve a little bit, we could avoid this cliff. And like you and I talked about during the fiscal cliff a couple months ago, we're at that same place again. I think that these sequester cuts go into effect. I was talking to a moderate Senate Democratic senator the other day who said, it might be June before people start to really feel the effect and start to realize, hey, we want to get out of here for the summer. We have some parades we want to do for the 4th of July. Maybe we should get a deal together. And the way things are progressing, where you have Senate Democrats are going to put out a budget that has tax increases and cuts in it. House Republicans are going to do more of a cut-based plan. They're going to need time to sell those plans to people. And there's no sense in the Congress that anybody is going to put forward a sequestration delay or fix that is going to be able to get through. So it's going to be, at this point, both guys going down parallel tracks and not really meeting in the middle anytime soon.
David, this is what boggles the mind of the average American who gets up every morning, goes to work, and does their job. The idea that for Congress to do its job, they have to be threatened with the possibility that they might not have a chance to stand in front of bunting on the 4th of July. I mean, with everybody in Congress leaving for a week, is the sequester going to happen and then lawmakers scramble to deal with it after the fact? Is Chris right?
Yeah, I do agree with Chris. I think, if you look at just back about a month and a half ago when we were leading up to the fiscal cliff, you had in that case the prospect that taxes would go up for people in a big way, and so that added another sort of lever on here, and so there was a lot of alarm and concern. It went down to the final hour. People were working, to the last minute. This is different. I read, you read and hear a lot about now, as Chris said, the cuts aren't going to be immediate. It's going to be down the road. Now you have also have a political action committee like the Americans for Prosperity saying we're going to campaign against lifting this cut. So you're going to have all this pressure on those conservative members to not do anything right now, and so I do sense difference this time, and it does. I mean, my wife works at the Pentagon. They are concerned. There is concern about that, and it's going to be so. Well,
I mean, there's an interesting parallel here, Chris, that David just reminded me of, that the longer these things get delayed, whether it's the sequester or whether it's the nomination of Chuck Hagel, that's more time for people who are opposed to what's going on to get ads out there, to lobby. I mean, it just makes it more complicated, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and it makes it more expensive, Chris. If you go down the road, it's not just that they have to fix going forward. They have to then retroactively avoid the cuts that will take effect March 1st. So it gets more expensive. And when I talk to Republican senators, they say, Mitch McConnell is in no mood to be the closer again. He came in with Joe Biden at the end of the fiscal cliff and got a deal, and there's no sense that they're going to bend on this demand for more cuts without more tax revenue. And they're signaling that very clearly. Now, of course, it's easy to signal that early on in the fight, but the Republicans are working closely across the Congress, from the House to the Senate, to make sure that their message is united, and there's not a sense that anybody on the Republican side is going to move, and that's the same on the Democratic side. They're demanding some tax increases. They feel like they have a pretty good hand with the defense cuts that go into effect, and they say, well, we don't love the sequester, but we'll take it if that's what we have to do, and both sides are kind of in agreement on that right now.
Chris Frates, David Nakamura, thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.